you obviously are in Michigan today, but you're watching Georgia. What do you think from a campaign standpoint? What is the campaign looking at to happen in Georgia on Tuesday?
Well, I think Georgia is a great example of where you have not just a lot of strong Democrats, but a lot of independents and a lot of people who usually vote Republican, but are thinking about it differently this time. And that's happening all over the country, but particularly in Georgia. I think that could be Kamala Harris's margin for victory. Just a few days ago, I found myself on the campaign trail with Jeff Duncan, a very conservative Republican, who is one of the many Republican voices urging people just this once to vote for Kamala Harris because of how much depends on it. And when I think about the military families in and around Columbus, the warnings that we've received from national security officials who served with Trump, who are saying that he should not return to power. I just think there are a lot of folks who may defy the kind of usual political patterns and expectations, and that could decide this entire election, just as Georgia was so vital to the outcome of the election back in 2020.
And the two Senate seats as well that you had with Senator Warnock and Senator Ossoff.
Well,
So
that's right. Senator Warnock has spoken so eloquently about the difference between the spirit of January 5th, when Georgia sent two senators somewhat unexpectedly to the political pundits in Washington to move our country forward. Compare January 5th to January 6th and what happened that day. And I'm very glad that even by then, on that terrible day, we had two extraordinary leaders who ever since have been such a positive force for our country and in the United States Senate. So I think the bottom line is that there's no such thing as a permanently red or blue state or county. Georgia shows that it's a state that thinks for itself. Every election is a new day in Georgia, and that's exactly why it's so important to us to reach everybody, to turn out Democrats, but also to appeal to those independents and Republicans who may not vote with us 100% of the time or even most of the time, but this time are saying, okay, let's team up and move this country forward.
do you think the rhetoric, particularly coming from former President Trump in the last week or so, is pushing some of those moderate Republicans into the Harris Walls side?
I think so. If you're a freedom-loving household and you watch somebody who wants to be president implying violence against his political enemies, even within the Republican Party, you see him, being willing to characterize whole parts of this country as garbage. In fact, he said the entire country is a garbage can. Those are his words, not just somebody at one of his rallies. You see the way that he's described the people who disagree with him, the American citizens who disagree with him, as, in his words, the enemy. We don't think of people who disagree with us as the enemy. Kamala Harris made clear that if you're from the other side of the aisle, she wants you at the table. Doesn't mean we'll always agree, but it means we're part of this same American project, and we've got to live and work together.
If Vice President Harris wins Georgia Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, whenever we find out, do you think she will win the entire election?
I do think there's a good chance that Georgia proves to be the tipping point state, that it all comes down to Georgia. And it's hard to see how Donald Trump would win if he doesn't succeed in Georgia. And it's hard to see how we lose if we do succeed in Georgia. It's one of the reasons why Georgia's getting so much attention and focus and investment from this campaign. That, and again, we know there's that independent streak in how a lot of people decide how to use their precious right to vote on who the next leader of the free world is going to be.
Mr. Buttigieg, 4 million, more than 4 million Georgians have already cast ballots. That's 55% of the electorate, about 50% here in Muskogee County, just a hair under. Do you think what has already happened what's going to happen has already happened and it's in the voting machines right now? Or do you think on Tuesday that it could be flipped?
Well, the early vote has been impressive, especially in Georgia, but it's not over till it's over. Every vote matters, especially in a very close and hard-fought election like this one. And I think what that means is, that turnout operation continues to be important. And to those who are so passionate about the outcome of this election that they voted the moment that they could, I would say if you care about this, your work isn't done either. It's great that you voted, but please reach out to people in your life and consider knocking on some doors too. That just could make all the difference if you get one or two more people to go ahead and vote like you did.